All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another quick post-fight discussion video. Shakur Stevenson versus Robson. How you pronounce that? Conceicao? I'll call him Robson in this video. But yeah, man. As y'all know, Shakur Stevenson, he missed weight for this fight. Had to vacate his WBC and WBO titles at 130. Since he missed weight, and now he's gonna start campaigning at 135. But before we get into that talk, I'll talk about that into the video. Shakur Stevenson, he went in there and scored a unanimous decision over Robson. And a very, very technical first half of the fight down to a gritty second half of the fight. And I say gritty because, well, first let's talk about the technical edge in the first half of the fight. Shakur Stevenson looked like Shakur Stevenson in the first 5-6 rounds. Robson, he was trying to measure that range and kind of throw Shakur off with some of his feints in the first round. But when we went into the second and third, you started to see Shakur just settle down and start landing those straight left hands, walking Robson down, and just starting to land some very good body shots throughout the fight. Throughout those mid rounds, you could really start to see the body shots Shakur Stevenson were firing off to that midsection, just landing them clean. We're starting to kind of break Robson down. And a lot of good clean shots from, his straight left hand were starting to wear on Robson, just backing him up. Every time Robson would try to step to his right, he was walking right into that straight left hand, and then boom, start cutting him up a little bit. And I actually thought Shakur Stevenson, he was about to turn it up and score a stoppage in like the mid part of the fight when he had Robson hurt a couple of times. But Robson started showing those veteran tricks in there, some of those veteran tricks that Shakur Stevenson, I think, he's still growing wise to. Shakur, he's still a young buck. Now, he doesn't know everything about boxing yet. He knows a lot, but some of the things that Robson was doing in there were kind of wearing on him. You could see him always looking at the ref, like whenever Robson would tie him up or, grab those arms and lay on him. There's a lot of frustration in there. But, Shakur has to understand, like, when guys do that, you gotta work on the inside. You got to get dirty back. I know you come from Olympic boxing and point fighting and things like that, but when guys start to wear on you, you still got to get gritty back at them. You got to start digging deep to the body, twisting an arm, hitting them in the back, hitting it back by the kidneys or whatever. If the ref can't see it, you got to do that to get them off you, right? But it started to wear on Shakur a little bit. I thought Robson, he scored a couple of rounds towards the end, because he started to back Shakur up. He landed a couple good right hands that I won't say buckled Shakur, but kind of woke him up. And he did land off some good combinations, I want to say in like round 8 or 9, consecutively on Shakur Stevenson when Shakur kind of took his foot off the gas. But going into those later rounds, it really started to get a little gritty in there when Robson grabbed on. And, that little hip toss there from Shakur Stevenson that cost him a point. What round was it, like 10? When he did that toss and he just tossed him down, man. I was like, dang, it started getting wild in there. But, Shakur, he took it on home in the championship rounds, just started boxing more and more, keeping that right jab in the face of Robson and, just outpointing him. When it came down to it, he just outpointed him. But I thought somewhere in like the mid-section of the fight, Shakur's power was effective. And if he had started to land a little bit more consistently from the body to the head, he probably could have got him out of there. But eventually Robson started, like I said, just tying up more, taking a lot of impact of those shots off by rolling and, like I said, leaning on Shakur and smothering his offense. So he could kind of survive those later rounds. But yeah, man, it was an okay fight. It wasn't like the greatest greatest performance from Shakur, and I was kind of, disappointed he didn't make weight for this championship fight, defend his belts one time before moving up. I know the weight is a thing, can be an issue, even with MMA, we talk about it. But, if you choose to continue to hold these belts all the way to this point, you got to be on weight. You got to be dedicated to it. So I did want to see him make weight and defend his belts for this fight. But if he's moving up to 135, man, hey, more power to him. But this is where the test is really going to come in. 135, this is where I want to see him now. He's in that lane with all the guys like Devin Haney. You got Tank Davis. You even got the Rolly Romeros, the lower level guys like him. I know Teofimo's moving up to 140 now, right? So he's out of there. But, there's already talk of Devin Haney versus Shakur Stevenson out there, Tank. So now we got all these three in the same division. Doggone it. I want one of these fights. I want one of these fights I want at least 2 of them by this time next year. Is that a lot to ask? By September It's September 2022 now. September to 2023 next year. I want at least 2 of these fights to happen. I don't care how they mix it up between Tank, Shakur, and Devin. I want at least 2 of these fights to have happened by then. I know that's wishful thinking, but come on now. And it's crazy because I remember last year around this time, I was matching up the so-called, 4 heavy hitters at 135 at the time. It was Teofimo, Ryan Garcia, Tank, and Devin Haney. And we still ain't get any of them fights. But now that we got Shakur, Tank, and Devin still around, I want one or 2 of these fights. I want 2 of them, man. But we'll see. What do y'all think about Shakur at 135? He's going to have to be prepared for those guys, those bigger guys now. We'll see if his power carries up. If, weight was the trouble. We'll see now if he's a little bit more relaxed in there, has more in his tank. Because I know a lot of people felt like, I heard some people saying Shakur started looking like he was tired in this fight. So was the weight? I don't know. We'll see if he's a lot stronger at this weight at 135. He's getting older, so he's going to start growing into, his body, getting that man strength. Shoulders going to broaden up. So we'll see. But, Devin Haney and Shakur, that is looking like a good fight if and when. Well, I ain't going to say if Devin Haney gets by Kambosos. We know he's going to do it again, right? So, we'll see how that works out. But in the meantime, if Tank can't get Ryan Garcia, why not Shakur versus Tank, right? Just throwing some names out there. So, guys, let me know what y'all thought of the fight. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Subscribe. Peace.